Well, hey, welcome to church, everybody. If you're new, my name's Kyle, and with my wife, Kara, we get to be the lead pastors here and follow God and His voice and what He's calling to serve in this community. And we're just so thankful to be a part of this. And there's such a fun day planned for today. God's just orchestrated something so incredibly special that you've already experienced through a little bit of worship so far. And so I want to invite you to go ahead and take a seat. And I want to invite my friend, Jake Torrey, up to the stage. Yeah, give him a round of applause. Yeah. Jake is a young man in our community who I want to interview today and be able to talk about a project that you've been working on. Hey, Chris, thank you. The stagehand doesn't get enough credit sometimes. Let me thank Chris. Look at that.
This is official now.
This is official. You're sitting in the chair. This is real
like
deal.
The one leg, like. Okay.
The power interview.
Yeah, like the.
I feel like Oprah right now.
Right. Okay. Am I Oprah? Or you?
I'm Oprah, obviously.
Okay.
And you get a car, and you get a car, and everyone gets a car. If you keep praying and save and financially are able to afford it and don't lease it or take a loan out, that'd be the best option. Sorry, I watched Dave Ramsey a lot. Jake. Jake's a young man in our community, and if you've ever seen any of our videos over the last handful of years, Jake, you've been able to make those and be able to do that. But I'm far more interested first in your relationship with Jesus before we get into kind of why you're here. How did you meet Jesus? How do you know God? How'd that come to pass?
Yeah. So I didn't grow up in the church. I believed in God growing up. I knew that there was something up there or whatever. And kind of going through life, I was always kind of avoiding drugs, I wanted to be right in what I did. And then in high school, I just kind of was always wanting to please people, always wanting to, be around. And as my friends started doing drugs, I started thinking, okay, what's a little weed, what's a little alcohol, what's all that. And so kind of got into this place where it was like, well, the world tells me that if it feels good, it must be right, it must be good. And so kind of went into this place where I was, smoking weed every single day, drunk every single weekend, and actually started dabbling into some other drugs. And this one night, my friends and I decided to try this drug. It's called Molly, and we had gone to my buddy's house and we did this drug, and I had started taking the drug, and all of a sudden I started my heart started pounding really fast, and I started I don't know if you could call it an overdose, but I started kind of having this near-death experience, and I started freaking out. I didn't know, didn't grow up in the church, didn't know, like God or Jesus or anything like that. And so I started realizing, holy crap, I think I'm dying. I think I'm well, I better call my mom, right? And pull my phone out, so no service. I'm yeah, I'm dead. It's over. And so I don't know what to do. And so I just, fall down and just start praying. Yeah. And I'm just Jesus, I don't know, who you are or why you would love me or what you would have to do with me, but I don't know how I got here, and I just know that I want to live. I know that I want to be able to say to my mom that I love her one more time. I know that I want to be able to be with my family one more time. And I was if you just let me live through this, I promise I'll never do it again. And I promise that I'll faithfully serve you to the day I die. Yeah. And I woke up and I was just different. And at first I thought it was just a side effect of the drug, and a month goes by, and I'm I'm still feeling different, something happened that night. And so I started freaking out, and Google didn't help, and I'm Googling, how long do the side effects last, and so then I started to just kind of realize that, okay, something really happened here, yeah. And that's when I realized, oh, it's because I gave my life to Jesus, and so I started going to church, and yeah, once I started going to church and understanding community, it all started to make sense as I look back on it. So
wow,
yeah,
wow. Isn't it incredible when you hear someone's story and you never expect a story like that, but everybody around you, and I think one of the most important things of church is as you look to your left and your right and in front of you and behind you, everybody has a story. And some stories are extreme, and there's drugs involved, and some people it's loneliness or depression or I grew up in the church, but everybody has a story, and you tell your story through film. You create videos and different things like that, and you start a project called Loved Yes You. Talk to me about that a little bit. How'd that transpire, and what does it kind of mean to you?
Yeah, so I've been filming ever since I was 10. My mom came home with the camera, and I was she's like, don't touch it. And whenever she left, I used it. So fell in love with the process of making videos. And then around the time I met Jesus, I had been really kind of like blowing up in the car scene, and I was, getting posted to these pages with millions of followers and stuff like that. And so I was getting all these offers, but in the midst of it, like, had just met Jesus. Yeah. And so there was this moment, like, within this process where I'd actually gotten an email from Sports Illustrated, and they said, hey, we're doing this shoot out in Monroe. Can you come and, like, film it? And I was like, sick, like, Sports Illustrated, that's crazy. Like, yeah, I'd love to. And then they're like, yeah. I'm like, so what's the content? They're like, oh, like, basically there's going to be all these girls in bikinis on cars and stuff. And then I had this first, like, moment where I'm like, oh, like, WWJD, like, is this going to be okay? Like, would, Jesus be all right with this? And then
he's looking at your wrist, like, oh, this bracelet really getting me now.
And that's what the first time when I, like, actually started becoming scared of video, scared of, like, having a voice. Yeah. And so I said no, and I put my camera down for a year, and I didn't want to touch it. And in that year, I started going to Northwest University, went there, and got my Bachelor's of Art in Ministry Leadership. And then
hey. Degrees, come on, everybody.
And so as I was coming up through the last year of school, I was really praying and asking the Lord, like, okay, like, what's next? Like, youth pastor, like, pastor, like, what's next? This is, like, kind of what my degree is, like, opening the door for. And it didn't seem like any of those things. And so I'm kind of like, all right, cool, like, sick, 60 grand, like, all right, Lord, whatever you need. And
just so you know, all of us felt like that too when we graduated from college.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool, so what do I do now?
Yeah, and so I was working at this job, and I was at this trampoline place up in Marysville, and I had brought my camera to come film, and just a herd of kids just swarmed around me. They're like, what's your YouTube? Like, freaking out. They don't know me or my intentions or anything. And I'm just like, what's going on? And, like, that's, like, when it dawned on me, like, I grew up watching cartoons, and these kids are growing up watching vloggers, watching YouTube. And
that's good.
And so I realized, like, I feel like that's when the Lord told me, like, I want you to go into this platform, and I want you to share my heart with my people. Yeah. And so that's why that's kind of where the idea originated.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what is, you build this thing, and it's still building. Mm-hmm. What is love? What's love to you?
Love, yes, you?
Yeah. What is it to you?
Well, what is it to me? It's, I don't know. It's everything. It's like the thing that keeps me up at night. The thing that's like I look at in our society, and I see topics like joy and depression and suicide, and the voices that are speaking into those things are these people on YouTube who are more worried about their views and their followers and themselves. Mm-hmm. And so they're speaking from a place of wanting something for themselves. And these people are just like coming in the swarms to them and not getting fed, not getting, proper resources, and I just feel like, to me, it's a platform where, Paul goes to this church in Corinth. It's this crossroads for humanity. And it's like, for us, that's what the internet is becoming. It's the crossroads of humanity. And so I just feel like called to go there and to stomp on the temples there that are being built and just bring the Lord's word. So, yeah. Amazing.
And I think one of the most important things to hear is you're seeing his passion that God gave him and creating it into his purpose. And every single one of you has a passion that God's given you, and he's turning it into your purpose. And notice that we're not using your job. So some of us work a job that isn't our purpose, but we have purposeful moments there. But there's purpose in your life. And so I think one of the biggest things that I hear from him, that I love about him, what's your passion? What keeps you up at night? What do you care about? Or what used to keep you up at night that you gave up on years ago? And then how can the Lord use that for your purpose? And we're going to show one of your videos. Can you intro this video for us?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, so this video is basically just a video I made. One of the first topics that I wanted to talk about was just, like, what is love? We hear so many things as in the younger generation, like, falling in love and like, Tinder is love or stuff like that. That's just ridiculous. Like, that's not love. And for me, I feel like one of the first times I really experienced, like, developed love was when my brother and I had gone through this season where we pretty much just told each other off and then kind of came together afterwards and worked through it and walked through it and just decided to choose to love. And so that's, like, for me, is like, I was like, I want to tell people that love isn't a feeling. It is feeling at times, but love is a choice. It's something that you live in daily. And so kind of wanting to tell that message in a way that looks similar to, the way that other people are communicating, but has a heart behind it that's to help and empower somebody to go and hopefully love somebody different because of it. So
Awesome. So you can follow you on social media at, what's the handle? Loved
Yes You.
Loved Yes You on Instagram, different things like that. Find it on YouTube. Here's the first video that you posted on there, episode 1.
Yep.
This is episode 1. Enjoy, everybody.